What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. For those of you new to my channel, my name is Jordan. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Okay guys, if you've been following along, then you know that my family and I are out here in Vietnam, and this is Vietnam part 2. I know I did a part 1 about us being at the airport, and then I talked about some other stuff that happened to us with immigration. If you have not watched that video yet, please go check that video out. It is very important, and I hope that it's helpful for anybody traveling to China to make sure you're prepared to travel to China, you're prepared to leave China. Go check out that video. It's part 2 of Vietnam. We have been here officially 9 days, and we have until our Airbnb is up Saturday, this coming up Saturday. So we are absolutely loving Vietnam. It is so amazing. We are in District 9, staying here in Vinh Homes. So Vinh Homes is its own community. There are over 400,000 apartments in this community for people to come and live. It seems very new. I'm not sure how new it is here, but it seems very new build. It is so beautiful, so clean, so safe. I absolutely love it. I'm walking right now at the boardwalk. It's right behind me. So I'm here out at the boardwalk. I've done this walk now for 4 days, and it is so peaceful and quiet. There's really nobody out here walking. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I did it around the same time yesterday and the day before. It's pretty quiet out here. I think what it is during the day when it's sunny outside, a lot of people are not outside because it's very hot. But me, baby, I need a tan. So I am outside as much as I can, soaking in this sun, because one thing about China is there is barely any sun shining. And so the people there too do not want tan skin. They want very fair skin. And I'm already, I don't want to be this fair anymore. I miss my Florida tan. So I am here soaking up as much sun as I can in Vietnam. And they actually have a beach. That's where I'm headed to right now. They have a beach out here in Vietnam. Well, in Da Nang is the actual real beach. This is a man-made beach with water. You cannot get in and swim. You can't dip your toes in, nothing. But they have these little beach chairs that you can sit on, relax. I've seen people come out here and picnic. It's actually so beautiful and peaceful. And I'm not one anyway to get into the ocean. Like, forget all that. That's not for me. But coming out here, just sitting, laying, getting some sun, that's for me. I should have brought a snack. I should have brought a drink. I don't have anything with me right now, but I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna chat with you guys and talk about the difference between what I noticed in Vietnam versus China. Is such a huge difference. Also too, out here, there is huge parks. So over here to the side, let me show you. So over that way is a free park for kids to play, little playground that they can play on. But then if you go this way, back in that background is a huge water park all through there. And then over there is another water park for kids, adults too. And then right over here on the other side of the beach is a huge amusement park. A lot of people come out here at night whenever the sun is down to take their kids, or maybe some people at the water park now. Yeah, I just seen somebody go down the slide. But Vietnam, y'all are doing your thing. I love this. Okay, should I take my shoes off to go sit here? I probably should, huh? Yeah, let's take these shoes off. Hopefully nobody takes them. I think I'm gonna leave them. Let me see how hot this sand is first though. Whew, go away. Okay, not bad. It's been raining too. Like it rains, it's literally, the weather is just like Florida. It'll rain really hard and then it'll be sunny and it'll look like it never even rained. I want something down here. Down here is more vibey. Whew, bugs. Let me walk down here. It's more vibey to me. And you can like get a good view of people going down the water slide. But guys, we are loving Vietnam so much. This is like perfect, quiet, chill. We met a lot of cool people here. I really enjoy that. Adish really enjoys that, meeting people. Like I've mentioned before in other videos, I haven't really made much friends in China. And that really saddens me. Let me see. The thing is it's gonna be hard to not have sand on. Woo. Take these shoes off. And I think it's weird to walk on sand in tennis shoes. Okay, so it's not too bad. Okay, I think I'm gonna sit here, but I want some sun, so hopefully I'll be in the sun still. Make sure there's no bugs. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is such a vibe. This is definitely a vibe. The water doesn't even look like you want to get in it. That looks, hell no. Okay guys, so let's talk about it. The major things I noticed differences between China and Vietnam. First of all, it's very hard to compare because they're both great countries. But I would say that you get more for your dollar in China versus Vietnam. I do believe that China, the food, the apartments are more affordable than here in Vietnam. Another thing, a difference is the food. I personally feel like Vietnam has more to offer, more options. I do believe that Vietnam has more food options versus China. It's a lot of Chinese food. And when I say Chinese food, I mean traditional Chinese food. Rice, noodles, lots and lots of meat, octopus, squid, lots of beef. But I feel like, to me personally, I like the taste of the food in China so much better. China's original food. I have only had one original Vietnam food, and that's pho. And I had higher expectations for it. It was good. Like I mentioned in a previous video, I gave it, I think, an 8 out of 10. I think it just needed more flavor, more spice. So that's what I love about China. I'm a person who loves spicy food. And the spices in China, we were in Chengdu, which is like the Sichuan capital, Sichuan province, which is a spice. It is so good. I love it. I miss that. I just wish the food here was a little spicier. What I've had so far has just not been spicy, but they have a lot more options. They have a lot of Western options, a lot of pizza options, a lot of sweets too, which is a good thing. Donuts, and China had some sweets and donuts too, but it definitely does not hit the same. Another difference that I noticed, I feel like the people here are a little more like friendly and nicer. China, they weren't not nice, but they weren't out of their, okay, I don't know. I guess it is a draw. The people there are nice, like once you kind of get to know them and you've gone to their establishment several times. But here, I don't know, it's just kind of a different hospitality versus in China. Another difference, obviously the weather. It is definitely my vibe here. I like to be in the sun. There's pools everywhere. China, I didn't see any pools there unless you went to a spa, and it wasn't even like a fun pool. They did have an indoor water park that I did not go to, but as far as pools at complexes as an amenity, you just really did not see that. I think the The ride share thing here is a bit easier because you can just go out to the street and grab a grab ride so quickly, or you can grab a tut-tut, which is the little golf cart thing. You can grab that so quickly and easily. It's more accessible. In China, you have to order a ride, which is understandable, but that's just a difference that I noticed. Oh my gosh, there's bugs here. Another difference that I notice is I feel like, just me personally, I feel like China is more like, the people are kind of more reserved and conservative versus here. They're kind of like free and are just very much free spirited, I guess you could say. I feel like in China, they dress very pristine, and which is fine if that's your style. But in Vietnam, it's so hot that you ain't caring to do any of that. In China, it's very, very, very hot too, but it's a different type of hot. Like this hot I can handle because there's a nice breeze with it and the sun is shining. In China, there is no sun and it is so hot. And it just doesn't make any sense why it is hot like that, and there is no breeze. So it literally feels like being in a sauna with no sun, no breeze, just hot. But I do feel like I like to dress for this weather. I like to wear these tank tops when I'm out working out. And in China, people don't rarely ever do that. And the people here be out walking, running, exercising. In China, they don't do that either. They reserve their exercise only for being in the gym. I'm not sure what that's about. You really don't see people running on the street, exercising on the streets in China. But in Vietnam, you see that quite often. I'm not sure why. But the scenery, maybe it's just people, there's no scenery to see. Like, yes, China is beautiful and the infrastructure is amazing in China. That is a huge difference. The infrastructure in China is amazing and beautiful. And I do think technologically China is way more advanced than here in Vietnam. But yeah, you don't see a lot of people running out in the streets in China. Speaking of technology, another major difference that is a downside to Vietnam is their pay system. So you can either pay cash, you can pay with an app called MoretaPay, which you have to transfer money to your account or upload money on your account and have it on there. It doesn't just directly pull from the bank. Or you pay with a debit card. China, one pay system, Alipay, that is it. You can pay cash some places, but rarely ever do they use their actual yuan. And here they use the cash system. We have not taken out cash yet to use anywhere, but in China, you just use your Alipay. Alipay pays, everything is connected to everything, every convenience store, mall, grocery store, even the vendors on the streets, Alipay. But here in Vietnam, cash or the MoretaPay thing, you gotta scan it and upload money to that, which can be a bit of a headache. Like for instance, yesterday was Sunday, MoretaPay was down for maintenance work or whatever, so you could not use that. And that was kind of, you know, a downfall if you only relied on MoretaPay, which thank goodness we have our debit card to use. They also do Apple Pay here, which they don't do Apple Pay in China. You just only use Alipay or WeChat. And that's convenient, I guess, but it sucks because now I have to take my wallet out everywhere I go. We double check to make sure that we have our wallets. I asked Mela, do you have your wallet before she leaves the house? Or do we have the debit card before we leave the house? So that is a downside. Another downside too is key cards to get in everywhere. There's some places that are Face ID and some places that are key cards. And I don't like that because you have to carry your key card everywhere. But in China, Face ID scan for everything to get in, and I did appreciate that. There are, like I said, there are some places that are just Face ID only, but there are some places that you got to get a key card access to your building. Door codes are pins to put in. I don't know. I think there might be a key card on the door that you can scan to get in more easier, but maybe our Airbnb guy did not set that up for us. So there is a pin code, and same thing in China, there's a pin code to get in the door. I just think I like that in China, everything is Face ID, face scan to get in. Safety, I do think that China is very safe, 100%, never had any issues. Vietnam is fairly safe. However, yesterday for the first time I was followed home. I cannot believe that that happened. And I haven't been followed in so long. I didn't even know what to do. And Mela was like, why didn't you call me? I didn't even think about calling her because it has not happened to me in so long. I did not know what to do. And I definitely was followed. You know, he walked all the way to damn near the building and was watching me in from the lobby window, and I made sure to make sure the secure door was shut, so he definitely couldn't get in any further. He did not come into the building, but he was standing outside the building. That was very, very, very strange. And even today when I was going on my walk, I kept looking around me, making sure that he was not going to be anywhere around, because that was so strange. I've never had that happen in China, not even close. So yeah, that I did not like, did not enjoy. Hopefully I never see that man again, but I have a feeling he's staying or lives close to where I was staying, because he walked right by me as I was walking home late last night, and then he turned around and followed behind me. So safety is a concern here, just a little bit on that aspect. Like I said, hopefully that never happens again. I don't know if that's even happened to anybody else being here, but yeah, that was definitely not good. A major difference I feel like is the nightlife scene here versus in China. I think Vietnam, they party a little bit more. They like to drink. There's cocktails at all the restaurants, the bars. There's bars. In China, that's very rare. Maybe deep in the city you can find some bars or clubs or lounges that have cocktails, but I didn't even see lounges in China. And I'm a lounge girly. I love a good happy hour. I love a good cocktail, wine. You know me, I love some wine. Rarely can you go out to a restaurant and order wine in China. Beer is their thing. Beer, beer, beer. And then the Chinese liquor. Their beer is actually good. It's smooth, but I don't want to drink a beer all the time. So, but here they have a huge selection of wine. They have a huge selection of liquor and whiskey, and the bars and the clubs, or the bars there. Yeah, there's clubs too. When we were passing through the other districts, there's clubs in the other districts. I do think that they have a better options when it comes to that in Vietnam. I have not been out to any of the bars or clubs yet, but we even our first day we got invited to a bar that was doing live music. So that is a huge thing here. And I do like that, because every now and again I do want to go out and have a nice drink, have some appetizers, listen to some good music. There wasn't really that in China. There was one place that we would go to, Blue Frog, but it was pretty far. Cheesecake Factory, yeah, you can get drinks and stuff there, but that's also very far. But in just the vicinity, close by the mall, most of the restaurants and bars was not a full service bar where they serve cocktails and drinks. But here in Vietnam, you find that very often. The night scene seems very beautiful. Like I said, a lot of it comes live at night because it's not so hot outside, and a lot of people want to get out the house whenever it's cooler outside. So another major thing that I noticed difference between China and Vietnam is there are a lot more American Black expats that live here in Vietnam, which is great. That's a great community to be able to talk with people and share stories and different experiences with them. I think that is really great. I do like that because it is you are able to make more friends and have a community and a village of people if that's your thing. And like I mentioned before, making friends is something that is hard to do in China because you don't see a lot of other expats there. If they're there, I'm not really sure, or maybe I'm not a part of any of the groups to like get together there. But that is a huge difference between China and Vietnam, is there are a lot more expats you see on the daily here. Also too, Vietnamese people speak more English than in China. Which, is not a bad thing. Again, I'm coming to their country, so I cannot expect them to speak English, but it is surprising to see that there are more Vietnamese people that speak English here than versus China. So when we're going out to restaurants, ordering stuff, people are speaking English, and that's great. That's really cool. That doesn't make me dislike China because they don't speak English. It's just that's a difference that I notice, is you will find more English speakers here than you would in China. And of course, that makes it easier for me. I barely had to pull out my phone and use my translator here. Majority of the time, somebody is speaking the language. So even like the Grab driver, he called me last night to tell me he was downstairs with the food, and he spoke English. So that was great, versus the drivers in China, no English, which, is understandable, but that is just a huge difference that I noticed. So another major thing I almost forgot about, a huge thing, is in China, they smoke all the time, everywhere, in public places. and coughing, sneezing. But here in Vietnam, people smoke, but it's not as frequent, it's not as much. You do not see smoking inside of buildings at all. In China, they were able to smoke inside of the buildings. Even there were signs that said no smoking. They would still smoke in the buildings. They would smoke in restaurants, spitting and coughing and sneezing everywhere. But here in Vietnam, they don't do that. They'll sneeze and cough sometimes very loudly and not maybe they don't cover their mouth. I really don't know because I don't really see them doing it as often. But literally somebody could be walking right in front of you in China and sneeze without even covering their mouth. But here in Vietnam, you don't see that as often. Like I said, you still see a little bit of smoking, but so far getting inside any of the Grab rides I've gotten in, you do not smell smoke. But in China, that was a lot. Getting inside the DDs is a lot of smoking. It smelled like the driver just put out a cigarette. But here, you still see it, just not as often. It's almost as often as seeing it in America. You see the smoking every now and again. Mainly, I'd say from younger people smoking, but in China, it was all the time at all the restaurants, all the buildings going inside of our apartment building in the elevator. You would see cigarette butts all over the ground there, but here, no, it's not as often at all of the smoking. And I really, really like that because me and my daughter both hated the smoking, and you don't get that as often here. And I do really, really like that. So that is another major difference between the two countries. Another thing that I noticed, and I just remembered as I'm walking home, is that the difference with China and Vietnam is in China, there are way more traffic signals for pedestrians to cross and stoplights. In Vietnam, it is almost non-existent. It is very scary walking across the streets here because right back over there at the crosswalk, there is no sign for pedestrians to cross. You just have to get in where you fit in. So you can be walking and cars are still coming right past you, bikes, cars, tut-tuts still riding right past you. There is barely any traffic signals here in Vietnam, which is potentially dangerous if you're not paying attention. That is a major difference. And I personally am somebody who is scared to walk across a major street with lots of cars. I've been hit by a car whenever I was younger, so I have that trauma still. That is something that is hugely significant here. So if you're ever coming here to visit, just be prepared for the street crossing to not have any signs for pedestrians, any signals for pedestrians where the cars stop. You just have to go. But in China, it is very organized and they have all types of street signs, which are actually very confusing. I never wanted to drive in China because of how confusing the streets were. But yes, here, you just gotta walk. You just gotta be paying attention. People can be coming, look, I'm walking through a parking garage. You gotta make sure you look everywhere because people are just going to come and they'll honk at you. So that's something to look out for, a major difference I noticed between Vietnam and China. So I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Vietnam content. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.